Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first episode of the Breakout Podcast. I am Chad DeDemesis, and I'm here with my co-host Bill Shockey. Bill, it has been a long time, but we finally got it going.
We sure have. I'm so happy. We got the tank wars going. As Buffalonians, we knew we had to jump in here before it ended. So let's get right into it, huh?
Yeah, so let's not waste any time. We're going to jump into it. So just to give you where we're going to go today, we're going to talk about the wrapping up of tank wars with Arizona and Buffalo. We're going to jump into some playoff races. And then my friend Bill here is going to tell you who's going to make the playoffs. Thank you for that. And then we're going to wrap up with some information on the Red Wings struggling here down the final stretch, and let you know how we feel about that.
We feel like they're going to struggle for a couple more years to come. Detroit, you better watch out.
Hey, don't cheat. Don't cheat. All right, so let's jump right into it. Buffalo, Arizona, we're down to the final 3 games for each team. Buffalo picked up 2 points yesterday against Carolina. Arizona is in Calgary tonight. Is it end tonight, Bill?
No. And, I think they might get a point, but Calgary fighting for a spot. I just don't think it's going to happen. Mike Smith has been playing better as of late. Love my boy Sam Gagne, but that's about all they have on that team besides Ekman Larson. And
well, hold on, you can't forget the great, Mark Arcobello here. He's a tank wars hero. He's got 4 goals last 6 games. Give the kid a little credit where it's due.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like we talked about earlier, I'm in a spot where I think something inside me, feels like tonight's the night. I don't know what it is. When we've talked, I've been on the opposite side where I've said that I feel like we're in trouble every single night.
Toronto
game, the Blackhawks game, where I think half of Buffalo almost had a heart attack.
That was a good night. Jonathan Taves, thank you.
Yeah, he forever be a hero in Buffalo. I'll tell you that. He'll get himself, I don't know, maybe one day he'll be hung up in the rafters.
That was a great night for us, though, in regards to, it goes back to the whole reason why we're doing this. You need everyone, when you need to be a contender for the Stanley Cup, you need that top line center. Buffalo has not had that top line center for a long time, if ever. It's always been about the back end out, and hopefully this time we're going to look at bringing up some offense, huh?
Yeah, it's McDavid or Eichel is a player that Buffalo's never had, and I've been looking for that guy. I don't know since you could say since Briere and Drury left in 2007. Like you said, it's always been the back end out, and if the Sabres somehow blow this, that's where it's going to be. You got Ristolainen, Zadorov, Pysyk. That's how they're going to have to build their team. If you get that 3rd pick, you're going to be looking at Hanifin right in the face, and that's you're doing again. You're building from the D out.
Do you really think they take Hanifin though? I think they lean Strome, maybe. It depends where Edmonton is.
I'm with you. I think Hanifin is going to be a great defensive prospect. But I think
he's
they
almost as good as Ekblad, or just as good or as ready as Ekblad.
I think he's going to be great. I think he's going to be great out the gate. If I'm the general manager of the Sabres, I'm going to go forward, but I might not go Dylan Strome. I'm a big Mitch Marner fan from London. I think he's small like Tyler Ennis, but I think he's got some great skill, great upside. I know I say small and everybody cringes, but he's got that skill. He can put the puck away.
I don't think that's what Tim Murray wants. Yeah, if you look at the recent pickups he's had, you go with Fashing, Delorier, the big trade this year, Kane and Bogosian. They're all kind of bigger bodies. They're tougher. They're not really flashy. They're, grinders. They're going to get to the net. Obviously, Kane is a lot more talented than the grinder tag, but I feel like he's tending to go more like Boston route, if you will, when they were amazing, bigger bodies, tough. They're going to beat you up. Playoff team.
All right, that makes sense. I just see Marner as, I don't know, I see him as Patrick Kane. He's that small guy who's shifty, skill, and he'll dance. But I can see where you're going. I'm with you. Bigger bodies. We've always had a small team in Buffalo, so I think the bigger bodies definitely help in playoff time. You need somebody to protect McDavid and Eichel, right? Because that's what we're going to get. So
that's true. Yeah, that's a whole other story. Protection. I can go on for days about that, but I'll be honest. I haven't watched a lot of Marner. Obviously, here in Buffalo, it's been all Eichel and McDavid highlights. But you know how much I love my Patrick Kane, and that's a pretty tall order for you to be throwing the Kane name out with Mitch Marner.
I'll tell you what. You guys, if anybody loves junior hockey, this playoff series is a series to watch. Erie and London, Dylan Strome, Connor McDavid, Mitch Marner. If you want it, you got Baptiste is there too. So I mean, that's going to be a great junior series right there. And junior hockey is always fun to watch, up and down, energy.
Yep, it's all about the high flying action.
All right, so let's do this. We've talked Tank Wars. We've hammered it home. Let's go to the other race going on. Let's jump into the playoff races in the East and the West, and boy, they're heating up. So right now we're looking at, in the East, we have Pittsburgh, and Detroit holding on the final 2 playoff spots in the East, with the Hamburglar and the Sens nipping at their heels.
Not nipping too hard tonight. Sidney Crosby decided to show up, and I'd say he still got it.
Yeah, that's what great players do when you draft them, right?
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, we're off that topic. Then in the West, you got Minnesota and Winnipeg. Tyler Myers, Winnipeg Jets, holding on to the final wild card spot with our old friends, the LA Kings, nipping at their heels. I'd like to be the Anaheim Ducks right now. You're going to be the best team in hockey, but here's your reward. You got to play the defending champs in the first round.
Oh, yikes. I think I'm on the side of the Anaheim here, hoping they kind of just miss it. It'd be nice to see them coming up from the bottom all those years. I'm kind of sick of LA Kings. Don't get me wrong, Dowdy's nice, Kopitar, Brown, but yeah, I've had enough. I'd like to see it get a different team in there, like Winnipeg. I think they're up and coming. I like how they play, hard nose. I always like to move back to Winnipeg. Atlanta. And I don't know. I feel like Winnipeg, Minnesota, those are two tough teams definitely for the top go-getters there with the Blues and the Ducks right now.
I'll tell you what, Winnipeg, man, that house is going to be rocking. MTS Center, whoo, I feel bad for any team that has to go in there and face that team. I mean, that is just going to be an absolutely rocking building.
Oh, yeah. They've been waiting for a long time to come back, and they're definitely going to be ready to give it their all as long as their team makes it. I mean, you can never count the Kings out.
All right, so let's do this. Here we go, Bill. You're going to tell me, and you're going to tell our listeners, who's going to make the playoffs. So here's how it's going to work. What I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot you out the schedules, and you're going to tell me who's going to win every game. And at the end, we're going to tally it up. So what we'll do is we'll start in the East, and we have our first big game, even though we already know this one's going. Pittsburgh and Ottawa. Who is going to win?
I think I'm going to have to hang on to that 3-0 lead the Penguins are holding right now. And this is an easy one. Penguins take it.
So that would put the Penguins at 97 points. Alrighty. So let's see. There's no other games. Oh, Detroit. I'm sorry. Detroit is against Carolina right now, and they're in a battle. Detroit and Carolina. Who you got in Detroit?
Carolina on a back-to-back. Detroit, last time I looked. Oh, they just tied it. I still think Detroit's going to pull this one off. Carolina, they've been playing a lot better as the season went on, but they're not at this.
Actually, checked as we're looking. Carolina just took the lead 2-1 here.
I'm still going Detroit.
All right, Detroit it is. So Detroit is at 97 points. Bill, I'll tell you what, we can stop right there because you just eliminated Ottawa.
Good. Yeah, Jimmy Howard, though. See you later. I wouldn't be surprised if they do make the playoffs and he does not make it through a playoff series.
Yeah, we'll get to Howard in the wings shortly here. But all right, let's jump over to the more, I guess you could say, entertaining race since you took all the fun out of the East. So let's jump to the West, and we have Minnesota and Chicago tonight. We got
Chicago. I think I'm going to go Minnesota. Dubnyk is very good on the road. I think we were listening today. It was, 14-1-1 with a .952. I mean, get
Can you
out of
believe
here.
that? Unbelievable. You know what? I tell you that.
We saw that coming.
This is me for another day, but I'll tell you right now. This goes to the whole core of something that I'll stand on the biggest rock in the world and I'll fight for it. You can find a goalie anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
You don't need to pay Henrik Lundqvist $8 million a year. You can go find
Ryan Miller.
You
don't need to pay him either.
You can go find Dubnyk. You can go find Hammond. You can go find Cam Talbot. I mean, even if you want it, you can go find Anders Lindback with his .941 save percentage.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, just look at the Sabres this year. We've been looking for goalies to suck, and they just keep playing good. So we got rid of Enroth, too good. Got rid of Neuvirth, too good. So here's Lindback, and I mean, I wouldn't say too good, but I'm sure if Murray had the chance, he'd ship him off too.
All right, jumping back into it. So you got Minnesota, so that puts Minnesota at 98 points. All right, I think that would actually lock it up for Minnesota. So Minnesota clinches. Minnesota's in. So we're down to Winnipeg and LA.
Oh, no, you still got Calgary, too. LA could jump them.
Yeah, you got the Flames. All right, so let's do that. So here we go. The Flames are in Arizona tonight. Who's going to win? Even though you already said
Arizona might get a point. I think Calgary does get 2.
All right, so Calgary's at 95 points. All right, so let's jump to the next game. We got Winnipeg, who's in St. Louis right now.
Oh, yeah. That's a very tough game in St. Louis. I think I got to go home team. I'll go St. Louis, fighting for the Presidents.
So that leaves Winnipeg with the loss. All right, LA is in Edmonton tonight, and let me tell you this, they got Backman going in Edmonton tonight.
He's been better. He actually has a winning record recently. Last time they played, though, LA came out with a 3-0 lead, 5 minutes in, and won 8-2.
I forgot that was last week.
I think LA does it again. Not that bad, but I think they get the 2 they need.
All right, so LA is up to 95. They jump. Actually, no, they're tied with Calgary, but they jump over Winnipeg. Winnipeg right now is sitting out of the race. All right, so
look at that game, man.
Yeah, and then here's another big game for you. Look at this one. Calgary, LA. What a game in Calgary. Who we got?
LA.
LA.
I think they ride to the occasion. Calgary is good, but I think they're just not there yet.
All right, LA is at 97 points. Calgary sits at 95. So right now they sit in the last wild card spot, but we got Winnipeg in Colorado on Thursday. Who's it going to be?
Winnipeg. Colorado's got some good young talent. They're not the team. Well, I didn't think they'd be good this year, but they're just nothing doing. They even got up on the Sabres and blew it almost.
I'll tell you what, looking at this, remember I said Minnesota was out? Well, turns out Minnesota still is in this, so I need you to pick Minnesota in Nashville. It's in at 98 points. A win does it.
Yeah, I'll give it to Minnesota. Like you said, on the road again, Dubnik's been on fire. At one point, I think he might even still be at like 32, 33 games in a row. Kid just won't stop. Nashville's kind of been not fizzling out, but they haven't been as hot as they started the season. Minnesota gets the win they need.
All right, so Minnesota's in. So here we go. LA is in San Jose in the last day. Actually, LA is home against San Jose in the last day of the season. San Jose looking for redemption with that 3-0 comeback by LA last year.
Not happening. I'm thinking LA goes undefeated to finish out the season to make sure they get into the playoffs. Even though I said earlier I'd hope they might miss and get a new team in there, they're not done quite yet. They'll get in.
All right, so LA is in, but luckily for Anaheim, it looks like they won't be in the wild card spot. They'll most likely looks like they'll end up playing Vancouver in the first round. But Bill, I couldn't be more happy that you picked LA there because look at this next matchup. Calgary and Winnipeg. In Winnipeg, the playoffs start a day early. Winners in, loser goes home. Who is winning that game?
It does not get much better than that, and I got to give it to the Winnipeg Jets.
Winnipeg. There you go, Winnipeg. You are in the playoffs, and you get to play Anaheim in the first round.
And you know why? Because Shockey says.
Bam! Hits you with that. I'll tell you what, that'll be a great series. You know what? Again, Anaheim drawing Winnipeg, that's no easy series right there. You have to go to the MTS Center, and that is not going to be easy.
That's going to be ugly. Hopefully they can get through that, and the rest of the West will beat each other up. But if not, I can definitely see Winnipeg surprising some people. Definitely 6 or 7.
All right, you heard it here first, 6 or 7 with Anaheim and Winnipeg, and that's the way it shakes out. All right, now that you've picked the playoff matchups, we're going to jump into something I know you're absolutely itching for. So let's talk about Detroit, Bill, because I tell you what, you mentioned it about 2 or 3 times. I know if I don't bring it up now, you're going to throw me out the window. So Detroit, I think we're on the same page. They could be in for some rough road ahead here. What do you think?
Yeah, I think this kind of all came about. Talking Buffalo lately has been the old Babcock train might be out of town. I know you could look at the Pagulas bringing in Rex Ryan. Now everyone's saying, hey, why not do it with the hockey team too? Bring in a big name. Show that we're a new Buffalo. With that, I think there is some small reasons, though, why that Babcock hasn't signed yet and why he might be looking to move on. And I think it lies within their success recently.
So you think it's... Let's step back here first for a second. So you mentioned Buffalo. We know that Toronto's been linked to Babcock.
Yep.
So...
Well, they linked themselves.
Well, Toronto's linked to everybody, so you're right. So let's say, is Babcock going to whoever gets McDavid, maybe?
That could be it. I don't think it's 100. Well, yeah, he did say something along the lines of, right? He was a generational talent, and he would love to coach the kid or something. Yep. I don't think this is the end all be all. I do think it's a reason why he's like, get out while the iron's hot, and if I can go coach a young kid, maybe make me young, and then I can ride him for however long he wants to stay in the league.
So how about some karma? Let's say Detroit misses the playoffs and win the lottery. Should I just see myself out now?
Yeah, that's not happening. I better not. Speaking of, though, yeah, that's so dumb how the lottery is. You could have a team would miss like LA or at one point Boston. If they win the lottery, the NHL is just gonna like laugh. Like, what are you supposed to do with that?
Yeah, good luck. Be a lot of angry teams at the bottom.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of draft picks, looking at the Wings draft prospects. I mean, you got Tatar, you got Yurko, you got Mantha. I mean, you got Peter Mrazek, who I honestly am a bigger fan of than Jimmy Howard. But beyond that, I mean, there's not really a lot that I like. I know we look at some websites, they got them ranked in the top 5 in the prospect pool, but outside of Mantha, Yurko, Tatar, Nyquist, and Mrazek, I'm not really feeling anybody else.
Yeah, I think that's the big problem they're going to run into. Zetterberg's 34, Datsuk's 36. Datsuk seemingly has been having more and more injuries as the years go on. It hasn't hurt them too much, I suppose, but let's put it this way. They got Zetterberg 210 overall. They got Datsuk 171 overall. They got lucky with that. This day and age, you're not going to sneak people like that out of the late rounds. With technology, scouts, you're able to see people all over internet, the world. Yeah, it's just not going to happen. The NHL draft is more and more getting top guys are in the top, and good luck later rounds. So because they make the playoffs every year, they're drafting last 10 years, 15, 20, 49, 35, 21, 32. Those are their first picks. I just don't see – they're going to have a lot of good players, but they're not going to have a Zetterberg or Datsuk that's going to carry them through that tough 82-game season. Yeah,
you're right. I'm with you. Don't forget about Cronwall, too. Cronwall's getting up there, about 34 years old. I mean, you got the Kaiser there, but is he the guy who's going to stand on the, take over for Cronwall when he left? I mean, honestly, I can't believe this team went as far as they did without Lindstrom the next year.
I agree. I mean, even look at it this year. They're eighth. They're barely clinging onto a playoff spot. I feel like the last couple of years they're not like storming into the playoffs anymore. They're kind of just limping in, and I feel like it's finally the age. They're fourth oldest team in the league. Average age a little over 28. You got New Jersey, Philly, Pitt, and Detroit.
Jersey. Yikes.
Yeah, New Jersey. That's a whole nother tire fire. But talk about no prospects. But yeah, I just don't see how the Red Wings are going to be able to sustain it, and I feel like maybe Babcock could feel the same way.
Yeah, I mean that could be why he didn't sign the contract yet. Maybe he's looking for something. For Detroit to tell him they're going to do something in the off season, or maybe he's just sees the writing on the wall and figures out it's time. Look for greener pastures. But it also comes down to, I think, goaltending. Jimmy Howard's been hurt this season, but he hasn't been great. And I go back to that Arizona and Detroit game. I mean, that was a 5-4 game. Arizona coming into that game only scored more than one goal, I think, once all month, and you let up a 5 spot at home. I mean, I understand he's coming back from injury, but that's unbelievable. Some of those goals were soft. I think Mrazek plays that game and Detroit blows him out. And it's continued on from then. I really think, like you said earlier, that Howard may start a playoff series, but I'll tell you what, he might not finish it. And then you're going to be looking at this. You got 4 more years at $5.3 million. That's not a crazy cap hit, but, I mean, getting somebody to take that contract, if I was a GM, I wouldn't do it.
No.
All right, so let me put it to you this way. You're sitting there, you are a first-time general manager, and you get the pick of the litter. You could start with Steven Stamkos, bam, franchise cornerstone, or you can start with Jonathan Quick, franchise cornerstone. You don't get both, you get one. Who are you taking? I know who I'm taking. Who are you taking?
I think this one's pretty easy for me. I go Stammer. You get that frontline guy. He's going to put up a lot of points. He's pretty steady all year. You need a guy who's going to show up in those tough moments. Just look at Jonathan Taves. I think, like we said before, you can find a goalie. It doesn't have to be some stud, and you can work your way from the front because the goal scoring is getting tougher. It's getting tougher and tougher. The goalies are getting bigger. NHL is way down on scoring, so you need that guy who can put the puck in the net.
Tell you what, how big are goalies now? Like 6'12", every goalie now in the league. I mean, I watched Lindback play for the Sabres, and the guy's an absolute monster. There's Lindback, there's Rinne, there's so many big goalies. There's Bishop. I mean, the goalie Dubnyk. I mean, these goalies are huge.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're all over the place. They grow on trees now. You know, I always put it to the goaltending position in hockey for me has taken a dip like the running back position in football. You can find him anywhere. You don't got to pay that guy a whole bunch of money. You have that guy on your team. He does his job, and then you let him go. You get the next guy.
Yeah, just look at even a little bit ways back. Look at the Chicago Blackhawks. They win the cup with Niemi, dump him. Everyone thought they were crazy. They pick up Crawford, win the cup again.
Yeah, I mean it's really. I think GMs these days are crazy. You know, if I'm sitting in New York and at the end of the season I'm sitting with Talbot and Lundqvist, I'm sending Lundqvist out the door. You know, I might be crazy, but Talbot can get the job done. Trade Lundqvist, get some picks, get some players. You know, build around your team. I mean, that is a stacked team who went to the Stanley Cup final last year. They may go there again this year. But, I mean, you got 2 good goalies. Talbot, you know, sure he didn't play the whole season, but, I mean, that's what I would do. I mean, people might laugh me out of, you know, if I was in a general manager's meeting, they might throw me out. But, I mean, it makes the most sense. You just got to look what today's NHL is. You know, goaltending was a big thing years ago, but that's not the way it is anymore. You can get goalies everywhere. But that guy you can just put in the first line and score goals, I mean, that guy sells tickets. Not Henrik Lundqvist, who wins you 2-1 games every night. Steven Stamkos scores 4 goals a game. That sells tickets for you.
Yeah, I hear you. As fans going to the game, especially these days, nobody really wants to see a 0-0 40 save each goalie battle. Everyone's looking for the goals. That's why the NHL implemented the shootout. No matter if you like it or you don't, they did it because the fans enjoy it. And unfortunately, I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon.
You know, that's something for another day. But you know, I tell you, the NHL needs to catch on to the goal scoring. You know, it's like football has with touchdowns. I mean, they've gone backwards. You know, with goals per game, we're getting close to the dead puck era again.
I mean,
it's crazy. With some of the talent you have in the league, you shouldn't even be close to that.
Yeah, it's 150 goal scorer this year with Ovechkin, and that's probably going to be it.
Yeah,
Crosby's leading the league with 80-some
80 points. 80 points is going to lead the league this year.
I totally agree with the NHL too. They think tanking's a problem. I think they got a problem. They need to look into what really is hurting, and it's definitely goal scoring.
I mean, didn't Crosby have almost 100 points in his rookie year?
Yeah.
I mean, that's unbelievable. I'll tell you what, Bill, it's been fun. You know, we knocked this first one out. There's more to come. But, no, I had a lot of fun doing this first one, you know, and I'm looking forward to going forward.
Yeah, I agree. I had a blast. I hope we just keep on rolling with these. It's pretty good. I hope the guys enjoy it, and we'll just keep on going.
All right, everybody, thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with another episode. Thank you very much for listening. For Chad and Bill, we are out of here. Talk to you next week.
See ya.
Bill, before we sign out, in honor of our fans in Buffalo, let's get one more group howl as the Coyotes are in there tonight. Let's go, Arizona. Let's end it tonight.